What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. As always, if you're not following us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're listening to us on YouTube. We also are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio, all platforms. So give us a follow and like our stuff. We are socials, also TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and on Facebook. Did I say that already? Probably. But we got a lot to get into tonight. I will say this. I feel like, boys, do you not feel like we're ready to turn the page and start talking football? And then it's just like something new emerges, or there's just big time news, and it's like we're like halfway turning the page, but we just can't, because it seems like Kentucky basketball is still relevant. And at this point, I feel like in usual years, maybe it's really, you kind of know your roster, you know what's going on, and like it's just, it's the wild, wild west still. So got a lot to get into tonight. A lot of Kentucky basketball stuff that's recently happened. Do want to go ahead though and kind of give you all a little tease. We do have some, and if you follow our socials, I did put a little teaser out there. We do have some exciting news coming soon with a collaboration with Bluegrass Elite. So stay tuned for that. That's what I'll just say at that and leave it there. But that will be coming very soon. So keep on lookout for that. But as far as what tonight's episode is going to look like, we're going to talk a little bit about some updated 5-5 court rulings, some more noise around college basketball. Mark Pope joined the Field of 68. We've talked about them before. That's a podcast and a channel that does a lot of college basketball specifically. They're going to have to change their name just because of the expansion, though. It can't be Field of 68 anymore. But Mark Pope joined their podcast for an interview. We're going to talk about the media stuff that Mark Pope opened up for the fan base last Friday, or was that last Thursday? It was last week, towards the end of the week. We're going to do BSM from the stands, and then have a little game. May talk a little NBA stuff if we get to it. But regardless, it's going to be a fun episode. Currently, we always record this the night before. So today is August 12th, but this episode will be releasing on August 13th, Thursday. So as of today, Wednesday, August 12th, there has been a lot of noise. I kind of just want to go ahead and send it off to you, Mason, to kind of explain everything. And I gave Mason this assignment just because I feel like he does a really good job of explaining this. But kind of start from the beginning of where we are at with this 5-5, Mason, and briefly discuss it, because we've already talked a little bit about it, but just kind of for everyone, maybe this is their first time tuning in to Bluegrass State of Mind, but like, what are we looking at, and then where we are at today and what has happened today as well.
Yep. So basically, as everybody knows, season kind of ended, transfer portal open, transfer portal ended, and then they come out and they pass this 5-for-5 rule, basically stating that, players have 5 years of eligibility within that 5-year window. And they thought, everybody was going to be eligible for this, 5-for-5. Then they come out and they say that you can only be eligible if you had previously entered the transfer portal, or we're going back to your current or previous school that you last played at. And so now, people have been filing like some, you're hearing about all these lawsuits within a state, right? Where people are trying to get eligible within a lawsuit within the state. And then today something comes out, and basically the NCAA is stating that the injunction should have never been granted, and have asked the 10th Circuit to reverse that ruling on the 5-for-5. So basically trying to take it all away now. And, Dylan, you called me earlier and we talked about it for a minute, and basically It's kind of what I said, right? Like, now that you have passed it, you have to allow these guys to do it, right? Like, you can't just sit here and say, we're going to pass it, but nope, y'all can't do it. If you were going to want this where this class couldn't do it, you should have waited until December or fall, once season had already started, that you wanted to pass this. And now they're trying to go back and reverse it and basically saying, no, we're not doing the 5 for 5 yet. So we'll see what happens. I know there's a lot going on right now. And, basically from what I have been reading all day and seen online, your best chance of being eligible this year is going through that course of filing some type of like appeal or lawsuit or injunction through a state instead of trying to fight with the NCAA. So you're better off going through like a state wherever you're trying to play, I guess, and filing a case that way.
And I think it's also really important to understand, like, the ones who are appealing this and making it a bigger case, it is the NCAA. Like, it's not the courts. The courts are in favor of it. The NCAA is the ones who are saying, no, we're not going to let this happen, even though, like Mason stated, their plan all along, only except for these players for this year, the fifth-year seniors, is like moving forward after this year, we're going to allow this to happen. And then it's just like, okay, we are weeks away from college football. We still have no decision. And, Mason, I think that's a great point you bring up about the specific states. I think it was like South Carolina had like 19 players who had, it may have been even more than that, but like
there's Colorado.
And Colorado has some. None in Kentucky that I'm aware of that I've heard about, but that, like, for you, I guess the better, safer route is like your for sure route. But I would anticipate, Colton, and we've talked about it a little bit, I would anticipate that given that we're weeks away from college football, and it's going to be really, really hard for the NCAA to allow a select few players, not select few, but some players to be able to do this 5 and 5, and then the rest of them are not. I think at that point, then you're going to get into a whole nother lawsuits from these players that are actively going to be like, well, hey, we're just going to take you to court because this just simply is not fair. Right? I mean, like, that's kind of what we're looking at.
Hey, I got something here. I just seen this. Okay. Because it just popped up.
Breaking news. We're dropping.
So basically, Matt Jones tweeted this a minute ago, and it says, plaintiff Mark Mitchell, I'm going to read this because it's not super long. Okay, and it kind of gives you an idea. But it says, plaintiff Mark Mitchell played basketball at Duke University in the 2022, 23, and 23, 24 seasons and transferred to the University of Missouri for the 24, 25, and 25, 26 seasons. He played games against the University of Kentucky and the University of Louisville, both located in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. He competed for playing time against Jaden Stone, blah, 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 all these names who were in their 5th seasons of competition, and Jacob Cruz, Caleb Brill, and Jacob Grandison, who were in their 6 seasons. He is not sure where he will play if granted another year, and is having difficulty with his decision because NCAA rules currently prohibit him from speaking with any coaches other than his previous school, even though he's graduated and been declared eligible. So basically, they're coming out in these lawsuits and saying, like, I played with all of these guys who played 5, 6 seasons, so I should be allowed to play 5 or 6 seasons, right? If you're passing this rule, I should be allowed to play. And so, I mean, in my eyes, like we just said, if you're filing it in the state, then how can they say no to that, right? Like, if you've played against guys who played 6 seasons in college or 5 seasons, and you're passing this, then you have to be able to play.
Colton, I guess the biggest question is, like, what's the point? Like, at this point, you're fighting a losing battle. It's like, okay, it is what it is. Let's just let these players, because ultimately next year is when it starts. We should have looked at this bigger picture and made a ruling, like Mason said, a whole lot earlier. Don't you think? Like, at this point, like, it's a losing battle, because eventually what's going to happen is these players, if they proceed and they don't let this happen, then they're going to get into a ton of different lawsuits, and it's just going to be an ongoing issue. And it's just a losing battle. And ultimately, like, what's the point? Like, what is the point, I guess, is my biggest question. Why? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, someone's going to have to give, or it's going to get costly. And that's why I think the NCAA will eventually give on this, just because, I mean, there's just so many different lawsuits that can be filed that if they start going against every one of them, unless there becomes a
federal,
Reverse,
right? That's
like they were asking for.
like right, exactly, and that's like the one thing that they probably have to rely on is that when the federal gets involved, and so they pass something that won't matter, across states, that something goes across all states, then it could help the NCAA. But right now, if they're having to battle all 50 states and all these different lawsuits, I mean, they're just better off essentially allowing it to happen. But I can also see to where when you start allowing that type of stuff to happen and you don't have certain things in place, you just open up to other things, right? Like we talked about the Sagai Ziegler thing last week. All of a sudden, the next thing, he wasn't even trying to, I don't know even know if he was trying to play another year as much as he was just trying to say, like, essentially, like compensation for not getting to play another year. And so now, you just have so many different things that you open it up to. If you allow this to happen, now you start having other classes. Heck, you might have a guy from 2015 all of a sudden be like, hey, I mean, I didn't get to play 5 years, so like, why was this rule, like, it cost me money back then, or the very first year of the NIL, all this stuff, or I wasn't granted this. I didn't get granted my medical red shirt that I was wanting to get me my 5th year, but now I could have just played a 5th year in general. Like, why didn't you give me this? And I just think that it's going to open up so much more if you allow it also. So it's a losing battle for sure, and it's just going to be one that's going to be costly for the NCAA, but I don't know which route will be the easiest for them, and they'll have to decide that. Well, here's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Although I love the NIL and it's deservingly, like, that is what kickstarted all of this. Whenever you gave power to the players, it's just like the NBA, NFL, all professional sports. As soon as those players started making money and getting the power, now it's that this is what it has escalated to and turned into. Now, it was the inevitable, like it was going to happen. People could see it. It was just when. Like, when's it going to become final that, college athletes can make name, likeness, image, right? Like it was going to happen. And that's kind of what you're seeing here play out. And it's always going to be that, well, what about me? What about me? Well, at some point, it is what it is. You're just going to have to make that decision and move on and just fight the battle as you go, I think. I know that's kind of way easier said than done, but getting into like this, I guess let's start.
That was filed in the state of Kentucky, by the way, for Mark Mitchell. So
could be important then.
Yeah.
Well, now let's kind of like, how does this translate to Kentucky? My first initial reaction is, Colton, in no world would I want to be Mark Pope right now. You could I was sitting here thinking, whenever me and Mason were talking today, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, first off, let's just go ahead and throw this out there. Jackson Collier is not real. Everything I'm saying, and that's all over online, is BYU. I mean, it makes sense. We even mentioned it. Like, he's kind of not even on Kentucky's panel. Everything that everybody's saying, if you've not been online, you probably it's Mark Mitchell, right? However, though, it goes back to what we talked about. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to go out, pay this man, and then all of a sudden, for some odd reason, we are not able to get Mark Mitchell because of this lawsuit and because the NCAA did win, and then you're just kind of stuck, right? We went out, we waited, we done what we thought was a smart thing to do, and we didn't get Mark Mitchell, and then we're looking at it and we're biting ourselves in the butt thinking, man, we should have just went out ahead and probably got Keyshawn Hall, who was the safer bet, right? Because I think ultimately now people are like, okay, Mark Mitchell for sure seems like he is the best fit. We stated that last week. I'm a firm believer. Colton, Mason, I think you still like Keyshawn Hall, but you would love to have Mark Mitchell as well. But at the same time, though, it's like, okay, the safer bet. And I just keep thinking, like, wow, like, what do you do right now if you're Mark Pope? I mean, like, it's a tough call, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing, too, because what I got to thinking about was, what happens if you sign some of these guys and they start on the season and then this lawsuit comes, like, it finishes up mid-season, like the guy that come from Alabama, right? When they were, like, talking about, like, the games that he played in, like, taking away those wins.
that ended up he played in the G League and he come back like halfway through the season this past year, and they were like, essentially the games that he played in, like it was going to count as a loss. So then what happened? Do you take that risk of playing a guy that all of a sudden they say is ineligible 10 games into the season, and every game that he stepped foot on the floor, it has to be considered a loss? I mean, that's a risk that I don't know that it's worth taking. So I do think that here's the thing. I think that they left open this roster spot for this reason, but I also think that we've built a team that we were fully prepared to go forward with without getting anyone else. And so even if you have to fill that roster spot with a mid-major guy that is actually out there that averaged 14 points a game, that he's not the big Mark Mitchell name, but he's eligible, there's no fuss over this guy coming from a random Robert Morris or some league like that, then that might be what ends up happening. That might be the safest route. And if it's a guy that can average 14 to 16, I mean, I don't know that he would average it here, but if he's that type of guy and he fills in a spot that we need, then you at least filled in that roster spot. You left it open. You did good with that final roster spot. So I think that it is a tough place to be, but I also think that we were fully prepared to go forward also with not gaining any more players than what we already have. So
I agree with that, and I'm going to send it over to you, Mason. But here is where I would say that why Mark Pope is in such a tough spot. We're looking at a man who is on the chopping blocks. Everybody and their mama knows that, and he knows that. And I think that he might be just of the mindset, like, it's risky for the biscuit. Like, I mean, like, this point, like, I do have a team that I am fully prepared to go and do what we can with. And like you said, would you say right there, like a top 15 teams, kind of top 15, 20 range?
Yeah, I'd say we're probably top 20 right now.
20.
Yeah. But,
somewhere around that 20
but then
mark.
It's like, okay, at this point, like, I'm on the chopping blocks, man. Like, that's not good enough. That is not good enough. So I might have to just play this risk game and get a Mark Mitchell, and in hopes and praying, like, please let this pass, because Mark Mitchell, I truly believe, elevates us into that top 10 status that can make a run to the Final Four. I'm not saying they will, but you're talking about an all SEC guy, a veteran, a high IQ player, a creator not only for himself but others. Like, he fills all the gaps, the physicality, what we're missing. We'll get on to that too as well. But Mason, like, I feel like Mark Pope is in such a delicate spot right now for his job that he knows how crucial and important this year is. So it might be just one of those things. Like, I mean, I got to risk it. I can't afford to take a back door and try to get like a Robert Morris guy or a mid-major level. I've got to risk it for a big-time player that I may or may not get.
Yeah, well, a couple things. First, like with this whole ruling and the Alabama kid last year, I don't think that's feasible because there's so many more guys that fall under this, right? Like, there has to be a decision when the season starts. Either they can play or they can't. Like, we can't go into this and keep having this drag out into the season, because then you're going to have teams like Kentucky, BYU. You're going to have some of these big programs who are going to be filing lawsuits back against the NCAA. Like, it's just a mess. Like, they either need to say they can play or they can't. And I don't know the whole thing with the courts and how the laws work, but everybody's acting like this Colorado thing is no big deal and this appeal is going to uphold no matter what they say. So I don't really know the law and how all that works. But I mean, I did read something earlier basically stating that, I guess since the NCAA said something about like they're wanting to reverse it and they filed something, they've already come back and filed something else, and now they have until like August 14th to respond and get something else submitted. So they're trying to get this wrapped up from what I can tell. Like, they're trying to put timelines on it and be like, hey, you have to have this done by this date so we can get this finalized. And
you got to have timelines.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like,
yeah, I mean, I agree, because this is ridiculous at this point. Like, we brought up, and Pope mentioned this on the field of 68. He talked about like,
don't get into it. Don't get into it just yet.
I'm not. But Goodman kind of asked him about it, and he basically, like you are saying, risk it for the biscuit. Pope basically said that, like, they basically turned down some other guys because they were expecting this to happen, kind of holding out on that 15th scholarship, right? Which, like you said, Dylan, he's he's all in at this point, right? Like he's risking it for the biscuit. Like, yes, I probably could have had that guy from Robert Morris or James Madison or whatever it is. But at this point, like we're going for the big fish and we got to put all our eggs in this basket. And if it doesn't happen, we roll with it. But if it does, and that's just kind of a cherry on top. And, it kind of comes back to, I saw something earlier basically saying that Keyshawn Hall, he wants to be at Kentucky. But we're still kind of holding out, leaning towards Mark Mitchell right now. So that tells you what the staff wants, right? Like we're waiting to see if Mark Mitchell is going to be approved and is going to be eligible. But from everything I've read, Keyshawn Hall wants to be at Kentucky. So, that we're back to that point now. Do we take the guy who's probably going to have a more likely chance at this point? Or do we continue waiting and everything could change in the blink of an eye tomorrow and Mark Mitchell could be eligible?
Yep. No, I agree. Before we get into the field of 68, Coach, and close us out on here. What do you do if you're Mark Pope? Do you go for the big dog that you think that you're putting all your eggs in one basket in Mark Mitchell, or do you I don't want to say fall back on a Keyshawn Hall because he's still a great player, or do you go safer route and maybe somebody else? What do you do?
I mean, I think that if you don't think that there is a risk of that, like that they're not going to sit there and come and say, hey, anything that he played in is ineligible. Like you think that it's going to be a decision that's either say they're going to get to play before the season starts or they're not going to get to play. And like that's going to be the decision before the season starts. And I would think they have to because this is also applying to football at the moment. So they're going to have to have it before basketball. You would think that. But, I mean, if you think that that's not going to be the case at the very least, that you're not going to have to worry about, like, if he was to play, like he's not, then I think you have to go ahead because at the very least, if you go ahead and get him, but I would for sure put in that contract that if you do not play, then you do not get that money. So that we're not just randomly paying a guy $6 million to not play for us.
But does he come here if that's the case?
Yeah. Does it? Wait for it. I mean, no, but I mean, but what I'm saying is if he's not getting what I'm saying is it's going to be in the contract that if the NCAA rules, meaning it'd be ruled against everyone. And how many schools are going to sit there and say, we'll give you $6 million. We don't care if you play or not. Like that's a lot that I can't see. I think every school would have to put that protection in. Like what school is going to be like, if you can't play, if you're not even eligible, that means he can't even enroll.
Well, you're just talking about, and all this came back to life too today for the courts, but also you're talking about that contract. I wonder if Seth Trimble had that in his contract that he just, with Louisville, apparently he got paid $3 million or close to that range. Was that in the contract?
Something. I mean,
Louisville at this point,
I would hope after all these contracts and these general managers that they're getting smart enough to put this in the contract.
Yeah. Oh,
or maybe it was like, Louisville, we'll pay you $3 million no matter what. And he's like, all right, I'll sign on the line right now.
Yeah, at this point, Louisville's really looking at like probably $35 million on their roster. I mean, it's got to be something like that.
They've reached out to every single player that's been in the transfer portal. Like everyone they try to go after, I feel like.
Yeah.
And as much as, and we can talk, I don't want to get into too deep about this, but as much as Mark Pope is on the hot seat, Pat Kelsey better go out and win. Because
Dylan, they're fine with being mediocre as long as they beat us every now and then.
I mean, it kind of helps. It kind of helps that he's following Kenny Payne and compared to Mark Pope following John Calipari. That's a big difference there. I mean, you're coming off a 5-win season and in shambles.
I know, but I'm just saying, man, like to spend that money. I know it's getting temperatures getting hot up there in Louisville. Let's get into Mark Pope joining the Field of 68. If you've not watched the interview, I encourage everyone to go out and listen to it. It's about 25 minutes. It's a really good interview. But let's just kick things off with, I guess, the most important quote that everybody had put on. And I was like, yeah, that's after listening, I was like, yeah, that was big. Mark Pope, when asked about kind of like where he is at with his team in a sense, he said, and I quote, he said, everybody in college basketball has gotten so big and physical, and that's not us right now. We're long, fast, and skilled, which is the teams that I love to coach. Colton, what is your immediate thoughts on that? I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean, two things. Well, so he's seeing a lot of athletic plays, but I'm guessing he's not seeing a lot of toughness. Meaning he's probably seeing a lot of guys drive to the basket but not finish, meaning he's probably seeing some lack of defensive rebounding, right? Maybe lack of little effort, like someone getting bullied, or some guys that you need to be probably your big time rebounders not rebounding. And maybe you're seeing things like not fighting through screens, so you're getting lost on defense, right? Allowing a screen to cause separation, which has killed us in the last couple of years. If you've had, like, teams have lit us up from the three because we go under the screens and we can't fight through over the screens.
Well, everything you're mentioning, though, is defense oriented. Like, like none of that quote hits me like you're saying as offensive stuff.
Which, and like
I
said,
defense.
Which is what we talked about on the last. Like, that was my biggest worry, which is that I think defensively, I don't know that we just have that guy that like stands out defensively, and I don't know how good at least their starting five is going to be defensively. And so I could see where there's probably lacking a little toughness. I do think we have several skilled players. I could see a Wilkins being a very offensively skilled guy, but I don't know how great defensively he's going to be. The same thing for Milan. These guys we know offensively have a lot of potential, but defensively I think is the question mark. And so is it going to be something that they get better at? Are we going to have to adjust lineups to make up for it? Or are we just going to have to go and hope that we outscore them, everyone that we play?
Yeah, and I think that you look offense, which I think at the end of the day, everybody in the oldest quote, like defense wins championships. I agree with that, but also you got to have offense, right? But offense can get you so far. At some point, though, you got to be able to get stops. You got to be able to shut down the quote unquote best player for the other team, or at least slow them down, make their shots harder than what they should be. And when you look at past champions, you look at Michigan last year, you looked at a Florida the year before. You look at I know they hadn't won, but look at Houston. Houston has not been known for their offense, but it was good enough, right? So it can carry you for a certain amount into that tournament. But at the end of the day, yeah, you got to have that physicality and toughness of what college basketball has kind of transitioned and turned into. Mason, I thought he said something else that was like, when he said it, I was like, oh my goodness, you better be right. Like, you better be so right. I'll give you another quote. He said, Mason, I want you to unpack it. He said, we can really shoot it. My goodness, we can really shoot it. We can be hard to guard at times. Our whole world is going to rely on how consistently we can be great decision makers. If we do that, we will be scary offensively. Love hearing that. I do. But it's just like, I feel like I've heard this before. Mason, you said you listened to it. When you heard that, was like, did that kind of stand out to you, or like?
Yeah, but like you said, I feel like we've heard that before. So I feel like it's just kind of like we've talked about before. I feel like he just kind of talks in circles, right? Like he says something and then he's like, we could be good, but he kind of throws something in there, to kind of like maybe save himself if it doesn't happen, right? Like throw a little life raft out there. And I agree. I think this team can be good offensively. And that's what he said. We can't guard anybody, but I don't know if anybody can guard us. And, he said it several times. We've talked about it on here about how Zoom and Alex both have over 30% assist rates. And he mentioned in there as well about how he's kind of went away from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Like having a specific position. And he's got 2 lead guards, 2 wings, and a big, right? So I do kind of like that in our offense, we're going to have several guys in there at the 1 and the 2 who could run either position, right? So we're not having to have a single guy get set and run an offense, or we're not having to have this guy in this position, right? Like it's fluid, right? You have your big, and then you have these 2 wings and these 2 guards, and they can all play these different positions and play off of each other. So I do like hearing that, and it makes me feel like, they're kind of gelling together a little bit already if they're already, kind of going to that. So I'm excited, and I agree. I think when we look at this roster, and we said it, but it just reminds me so much more of his first roster, right? Like that year, we weren't great defensively, but we still beat Florida, who went on to win a national championship in Rupp and scored 110 or something, right?
I do think we are going to be longer, though. Like as far as like
you mentioned that
length,
too. Yeah.
in defense. And something else, speaking of Zoom and Wilkins, is that he was not asked specifically about Mason Williams, but he brought him up. So that's going to be a good call.
I called it months ago.
They are all, and I'm hearing that from everybody that's doing any type of reporting, that look out for Mason Williams to get some good PT for this year. And that's good. So then it makes me even feel better. Like, okay, we might be good at the guard spot. So let's go get that 4 in Mark Mitchell, or that if we have to, that 3-4 Keyshawn Hall. I will say this, the one thing that just, and again, go back and listen to it if you have not, but another thing that really stood out to me, and thinking of how ironic it is that a week or two before, the new athletic director in Jay Batt came on and done an interview, and when asked about a general manager position, I think it was on KSR, they did an interview with him at the football media day. I believe that was last Monday. They talked about general managers, and Jay Batt was like pretty much stating we're going to be, that is definitely something we're going to really have and discuss and talk. Okay. Jeff Goodman, who is one of the lead guys, or who owns, I guess, Field of 68, had he said, listen, Pope, that was one of my biggest criticisms of you, is that you didn't get a GM. And Mark Pope had this to say about that. He still isn't looking to get a general manager. He said that he thinks and knows that his system, or their system, not his, their system is better. And he even asked Jeff Goodman, he said, when looking at this year's top 3 portal teams, all 3 of them had something in common. And that was that none of them had general managers. And then he followed it up by stating that he just thinks that their model is better. So I bring that up about the Jay Batt because you have your new athletic director on one hand saying, I'm going to be looking for a general manager. Will Stein has a GM. We've seen that what good it has done. And then you have your head basketball coach, who was not hired by Jay Batt, who was hired by the Barnhart heir, stating that, we're good. My system, I like our model better. So then it's kind of okay, something's going to have to give, right? At some point, either you're going to have to go out here and prove that you don't need a GM and you're going to win and win big this year, or you probably won't have your job back, or you're going to somehow get away with it. If you don't, I don't know how that would happen if he doesn't win big, and still next year not have a GM. I'm kind of confused on that statement of why he wouldn't want to have a general manager still. Colton, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it, but if you didn't, hearing that, do you think that's total, Mark Pope is hard-headed, it seems like, about this general manager. He truly, truly believes in what he has and whatever their model is. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, he truly believes that it's working and it works efficient.
Yeah, my worry about Pope and not wanting a general manager is that I'm afraid that he's worried that a general manager will mainly see dollar signs and top guys. And I feel like Pope has kind of this old school, wants to build a team full of just really good guys. And we haven't seen him go out and get these great freshmen like the Cal era. And I'm afraid that I don't know if he thinks that getting a general manager, that they'll be listen, we're going after all these top 5. We're going to give this guy, Stokes, essentially, if we'd have had a general manager, would the general manager had pulled the trigger on a higher price than what Mark Pope felt like Stokes was worth? And would that have been a good thing? Maybe. Would that have been a bad thing? I don't know. And I think that that's probably Pope's criticism of wanting a GM, is because I think he has a certain style and a certain type of player that he wants. And because...
Well, let me pause you there, though. Would you say, though, feeding off that, Colton, though, would you say, though, like you said it perfectly, you think, and I think that too, his style is that older, that's not typically... Would you say that that's more that or Mitch Barnhart era, the older, don't want to do things, whereas Jay Batt, though, is the new modernized money, dollar signs. Like, that's what he's known for. So, like, at some point, like, he's going to have to, like, something's going to have to give here.
For sure. I mean, I think I think he liked Barnhart so much because he kind of was still stuck in his ways, which is why him and Cal bumped heads, right? Cal was wanting to advance. He was like, hey, I need a new practice facility. Like, I don't care who we are. Like, these guys are coming and seeing they're going to these other places. And they're like, we're not giving you a practice facility. You're not, I mean, it should not be hard to recruit at Kentucky. Like, it should not be. And I feel like Barnhart was making it a lot harder to recruit at Kentucky than what it should have been. And I think Pope kind of falls in that same old school style. And I think that's why they got along so much. But now this is just a new age, and there's nothing wrong with that style except for you have to still be willing to adapt in the moments to go get that big fish when you need to, or pull the trigger, or do these things to be more modernized than what you need in today's game. And I think that would probably be his biggest pushback of not really wanting a GM, because they would lose that aspect or identity that he kind of wants.
Yeah. Well, if you, like, again, last time I'll say it, go listen to it. Mason, I want to talk about something, though, that Colton was saying, like, go out and get the big fish. Like, do what you got to do. It's a new game, new era. This is what, like, you got to adjust. If you don't adjust, you'll be left behind, right? So when thinking of that, the big fish in the Mark Mitchell, possibly, or the Keyshawn Hall, I don't know if you all saw this. I saw it on Twitter and I clicked on it. ESPN dropped, pretty much like the ceiling and the floor for the SEC in basketball. Okay. So I was looking, Florida, Arkansas, and Texas, their ceiling was a national championship. Like that was what SEC had them. For Kentucky, it says the ceiling, total wins 30, SEC finished second, and postseason finish Elite 8. You think it's pretty accurate?
Right now without Mark Mitchell.
Right. I'm assuming they had to do it right now.
I do. Yeah.
Colton, you disagree? I think it's spot on. I think the ceiling is,
because I looked at their floor too, and it was like 20 wins
without Mark Mitchell, right?
Without Mark Mitchell.
His ceiling is Elite 8.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the ceiling. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Now, Mason, before you get ahead of ourselves, the floor that ESPN had for Kentucky was total wins 20, SEC finished 8th, and NCAA tournament round of 64. Do you think that is pretty accurate?
Spot on.
I think it is too. I mean, I think that's a case where you could, like, it just doesn't work, and you find us at 20, 21 wins again, and we're struggling to make the tournament, or we barely make it, and then we could get beat in the first round, right? Okay, so my question, though, is put Mark Mitchell into the lineup, or even let's just say Keyshawn Hall. What do you think changes more, the ceiling or the floor?
I think it's ceiling, just because I honestly think, like, obviously nobody knows what's going to happen, but if we get Mark Mitchell, I think we're a national championship contender if everything goes well. And I think it puts our floor to probably like you never know what's going to happen in March. Okay. But I mean, I think, our expectations would be Sweet 16 absolute minimum, right? Like, that's our floor if we get Mark Mitchell. And I think it does raise us to a national championship contender if we get Mark Mitchell.
I mean, I don't disagree whatsoever. I think that I think the floor looks at like a 25, 26 win season still when you add one of those dudes. I do. I think that it's a 4-game difference in those guys, just because they are playmakers for themselves and for others. Last thing here, Colton, on the field of 68, I wanted to get your thoughts on. Jeff Goodman said, like, on Mark Pope, on what he needs to do in year 3 at Kentucky. Mark Pope said, and I quote, "The same thing I had to do in year 1 and year 2. We got to win every game, and we got to win the last game." I have never questioned, Colton, that Mark Pope understands the assignment as, like, cognitively. Like, he knows, like, okay, what do I have to do? But it's one thing to understand it, and it's one thing to apply it. I mean, what do you think about that?
Look, I mean, he's doing the opposite of Cal. right? Like when we'd lose a game, Cal would talk about, put it on me, blame it on me. And I think Pope knows that the heat's under him, but he's saying all the right things to still buy him some hope and buy him some time, right? And I just think that that's what he's doing. Like, hey, I know we're supposed to win championships, where Cal never said that, right? So everyone's got to thinking about, well, Cal's just in it for himself. Cal don't care about the university, right? I mean, but so he's trying to do the opposite of that. He's trying to be like, hey, man, I know this is Kentucky. This is the best job in the world. This is we love it here. We don't want to be anything else. He's trying to play the other side of that. But
Mason,
that's what gets me it just gets me so mad though, because I get so tired of him. I get so tired of him saying those type of comments. Like he gets to saying those type of comments, but like when he talks about, oh man, we've done great things here. We've done great. No, I'm not saying.
I am going to at least though say, at least he's not saying garbage stuff though, like, these fans are crazy, they expect us to win every game. Like, I can't stand that, though. Like, whenever Cal would say stuff,
I agree, but it was just a different approach, really shooting for the same reason.
Listen, right? At the end of the day, it's both the same crap.
That's what I'm saying, yes.
You win or you're gone. Like, they're both just making up
exactly.
stuff to
that's what I was saying.
Don't blame it on the players, blame it on, like,
it was completely opposite. Right.
At the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's the opposite side, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Like, you got to win or you're gone. Everybody knows that, and that's what they're both trying to get out there.
We've said this, and even even Claire has caught on. We're gonna have, and it's so funny because I was like, I know, Claire,
we're gonna have a cow counter.
We're gonna have a cow counter for Colton. Like, if I could get like in the top corner a cow counter for Colton.
Just do it one episode and don't tell him. Just do it, please. One episode. I bet it's double digits every episode.
Look, if she's listening to me, she came up to me the other day, Colton. She's like, Colton brings up Cal quite a bit, don't he? And I'm like, yeah, he's a Cal guy.
It's because the moment he started, Mark Pope started trying to compare his own success here at Kentucky to the last few years of Cal. And instead, he preaches about knowing the tradition and knowing, like, the mission. And if that's the case, you should be comparing it to his own years when he won a national championship. So don't brag about your success for the last couple years that we were down. Like, no one is more happy because you made the tournament, but you got beaten around of 32 compared to got beaten a round of 64. Like, that's not success. Really? Stop. No. I'm not. Well, like, it gets me done.
We'll flip back to this. I've got this from the BS and from the stands. So, last thing, speaking of, like, Mark Pope saying the right things, we will give credit where credit is due. And I think that Mark Pope has done not a good, but a phenomenal job this summer on PR moves. Whether it be the videos with the fans, the picture he put on Instagram about Milan when he landed him, the interviews that he's been on with mainly KSR. Why can't he come on Bluegrass? I don't know. But regardless, he has spoke up, spoke out. He's doing a media day tryout. He has made progress, I feel like, in the media, where, like, he's finally like, okay, he disappeared, he was ghost, and maybe that was kind of what he needed. Like, okay, I gotta, like, start making some right moves, right? So, and then recently he opened up the last summer practice for Kentucky fans, which I thought was that's awesome. Now, obviously we can't get there. We have work for one, and obviously we live 2.5, 3 hours away, so we can't make it. But had my lunch break, which I don't really get it, but I would have loved to have been able to go, and I would have went if I could have. But I think that that's just a great move. So I do want to give credit on Mark Pope on that. And we've I don't really think it's necessary for us to kind of talk about what we've seen in that practice. Let's go ahead and go on to BSM from the stands. But it kind of transitions into what Colton was talking about, okay? Colton was kind of getting heat in there. Don't say this, don't say that if you can't do it right. But one of our fans on one of our videos on Facebook, it was in regards to Mark Pope. And ultimately he said, I hope Mark Pope makes you eat your words. And I commented back from Bluegrass State of Mind, and I said, trust us. We do too. Colton, you was really hot and heavy on him, though, just a few minutes ago. Like, is that, like, do you fully, like, trust us? Like, I hope he makes us eat our words on here.
100%. We don't want him to fail. Like, I hope I hope he's here for the next 10 years, because that means that we had a great success. Like, that means that we've done something. Like, that's 100%. Like, I think he's a really good guy. I love that he won a national championship for us as a player. I think he truly loves this state and truly loves the University of Kentucky. So and he's a family man. Like, I'm big on the person that Mark Pope is. I think he's a very intelligent guy. However, this job is just not for everyone when it comes to coaching. And I'm not sure that he is the guy. He has not given me enough in the first couple of years to show me that he is the guy for the next 5 to 10 years. But that can change if you can make a run, if you can start, as the season goes on. If the season goes on and all of a sudden we add a couple more of those freshmen with the Hampton and some of these guys. And that's what you have to build the momentum on top of everything. You can't, you had the Sweet 16, which was pretty solid with having the short time. But then you kind of regressed when your first full year of getting the recruit. Now you're in a time where you can't have another 32 or worse. Like, it's got to be better. You have to go forward. And I mean, I'm just at that stage where I hope he does, man. I mean, we all do. I would love to. And like I said, people will hear us, and I'm sure they're like, oh, y'all hate Mark Pope, or y'all are haters, or y'all aren't fans. Look, everyone deserves criticism. Everyone deserves praise when they do great. But that's what comes with this job. Doesn't mean that we hate him as a person. Doesn't mean that we don't like him. Like, well, I think he's a great guy. But you got to win ball games, and you have to hold up expectations, and you got to give this fan base something to really believe in. And that's putting a championship contender out there. And if you can't do it consistently, then the next guy's got to come in and do it.
Absolutely. I've said it before, and I'll say it again before I send it over to Mason. One thing that we stand firm on here at Bluegrass State of Mind, I feel like we do an excellent job of whenever, like I just gave Mark Pope praise. Like, whenever there's a time to give Mark Pope praise, we are going to get on here and give him praise. And it has nothing to do with a bandwagon. Oh, he's winning now, so you're going to be cheerful. No, like, if he's winning, yeah, we're going to get on here and be like, okay, like, you're doing great. Like, keep it up. But if you get out there and you don't do that, and you're rubbing your head going in the tunnel and look like you're just in this such a depressed state, being at the head of Kentucky basketball, and you look dazed and don't know what to do, then yeah, we're going to get on here and be like, dude, wake up. What are you doing? Like, you are our leader. So again, there's a time that we are going to praise him, and whenever he's not doing what he needs to do, like, that's what we're going to do. That's the point, right? And he's went on media to say that. Like, he is, if you listen to any interview and talking about him understanding the assignment and understanding BBN, he wants people to be critical of him. Now, does he really mean that? It might be just one of those things where he's just saying the right thing and wanting to, like, build the love and trust. But, like, it's going to happen. It's part of the job. Mason, do we truly want Mark Pope to eat us or eat our words?
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep this short and sweet. At the end of the day, we want Kentucky to be on top, right? And it doesn't matter who's at the head. Doesn't matter if it's Cal. Doesn't matter if it's Pope. If you're not getting the job done, we're going to be critical. If you're getting the job done, then we're going to praise you, right? But at the end of the day, all we want is for the University of Kentucky to be on top. And so if Mark Pope makes us eat our words, then hallelujah. I hope he does. I really hope he does, and I hope he's still here, and I hope he rattles off. I hope he goes on a three-peat. Don't see that happening. And like Colton said, I still don't know if he's a man for the job. I do think he knows the game of basketball. I just don't know that he has that swagger and that closing ability, to be able to get the job done at some place like this. So at the end of the day,
but all it takes is 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. That's all it takes.
It takes one good season, and I hope that season is this year. And I'll close it out.
Look at Todd Golden. His first 2 years at Florida were not good, and now he had a good year, and now he just continues to build on it, right? So,
and I think you all got to see it firsthand. Somebody has said it, and I'm like, yes, that's perfect. Whenever Kentucky is at its lowest, it like against the Gonzaga, like it gets bad. It's the loudest. But when you're winning, there's no better place. You are an absolute rock star. Like there's just no, you cannot convince me that there's any better place when you're winning here. Before we get into the game, I wanted to throw this out there. It was not on the list. I'm gonna keep it short and brief, but I just thought the NBA. I need help here, fellas. The NBA dropped its opening night games for October 20th. It's a triple header. First game will be the Celtics at the Pistons. It's a 3 p.m. start. The next game, though, Philadelphia 76ers, LeBron Waka Flocka James, my GOAT, my player, plays my team, the New York Knicks.
Who are you cheering for, DG?
I know, right? First night. I was like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, who am I going to cheer for? Am I going to go my team or my player? I am not going to get on here and lie. I've stated, even before I picked the team, I said before, as long as LeBron is playing, that's going to be my guy. Until he fully puts it up, there will be so I'm sticking with LeBron. Obviously, I mean, that's my GOAT. But the next game is going to be the Thunder at the Spurs. Colton, just quickly, the NBA, they've been on they're doing all the right PR moves. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opener. I mean, you got LeBron, 76ers at the previous champions at the Knicks, and then you got the Thunder Spurs, two of the faces of the league, the future already, if you want to call it future. I mean, they're present now. Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, couldn't ask for a better opening night.
Yeah, no, they've done things the right way, right? And the playoffs was, it couldn't have worked out better for them to get the playoffs that they did with Wemby and the Knicks. And I think they need to build off that momentum, and they're doing it so far with putting these games up. And I think it'll be an exciting opening night. Like, I think it'll probably be the highest rating opening night that they've had in a long time. Obviously, it's during football season, but it is during the week, I think. So you'll have a reason to watch basketball.
Yeah, it's Tuesday night.
Yeah, so you're going to have basketball on when football's not. I could see it being one of the largest opening nights just because of the whole Wemby and the Knicks. And, I mean, everyone, the stars will be back on the sidelines.
You forgot to mention LeBron. Come on, man.
LeBron at a new team. Listen, I ain't worried about it's the Knicks and Wemby is the headlines.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we got a game. Colton's in charge of our game tonight. Colton, what do you got for us?
All right. So we're going to play a little deal or no deal, but you all are going to have to play it together. So I don't know if y'all seen these on the thing, but you'll get, so we're going to you have to build a tight end, 2 receivers, a running back, and a quarterback. So there's 6 cases. So you have to come together and you have to choose one. You get one chance each time
to repick.
To repick if you want to. And I'll just go and tell you, each of these lists have some decent names, and they have some not so decent names.
not so good names.
I'm not going to say that. Look, they're all NFL players. No. Everyone's current in the league. I retired. Everyone is current in the league.
So when he got carried off on the stretcher.
So it's a bunch of just randoms. It could be anything, but that's going to be the case. So y'all have to come together and decide it together. So y'all have to choose a number. So everything's going to be 1 through 6, and then you can decide to keep it, or if you want to repick, but you get one repick, and that's the one you have to stick with. So could be better, could be worse. So we're going to start out with tight end, 1 through 6. Y'all decide on a number.
Dylan, did you just pick the first one? I'll pick the second one.
Okay, I feel like because 22 is my favorite number, 12, both have a 2 in it. Let's save that for the quarterback position.
All right.
2 is going to be for the quarterback.
Let's go 4 here.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
All right.
Number 4 is Chig Okonkwo.
Oh gosh.
The former Titans tight end. He's now at Washington.
I feel like he was decent for the Titans, honestly.
Chig.
All right, no deal. We got risk it.
Chig.
I mean, I don't know it can get much worse, honestly. Like, it can, but we got to risk it.
We need like the sound effect. No deal.
You pick it this time.
All right, no deal. So you're closing that case. You're
Take-
going with another one. Okay,
take the
this is
next-
gonna.
So we only get one more
You
case.
get one more
Yes,
for
we
this
gotta
one. Yeah,
keep
and
this one,
it's
no
gonna
matter
be
what.
it's gonna be whoever you get.
Should like 2 be our like special number? Like should we go
let's go.
2?
Yeah, do it.
2.
Darnell Washington. The
Okay. I mean, like
for the Steelers, a great blocking tight end, not great at anything else.
I mean, give it to him
I
and just
mean-
let that man truck people.
Okay,
right. I mean,
but
let's
the
say-
other, so the 4 that you didn't choose, number 1 was Travis Kelce, number 3 was Sam Laporta, number 5 was Hunter Henry, and number 6 was George Kittle.
I mean, we couldn't have.
I mean, we picked
two
the
worst
2
boxes.
worst.
The 2
guesses
worst was
possible.
definitely Ching and Darnell Washington.
Maybe
So
2
you're
is
Darnell
not
Washington.
the number.
All right. So we're going to go with the first wide receiver spot.
Go 2 again.
All right. 1
Yeah,
through 6.
I do want to say though, I think Darnell Washington. It's just the system he's in. You put him on a good team, I think he's a lot better.
I agree.
So for
He's
this
big-
team,
he's
I'm
big
not
target.
mad about it. Yeah, he's a big guy.
Let's go 2
Yeah, we're
again.
going 2 again.
Yeah.
Okay. You got T. Higgins.
Ooh, that's one of those like I feel like like there's a little bit better, but could be.
I mean, here's the thing. You put him in his own system. He's a wide receiver 1, right? If you don't put him beside Jamar Chase, he could be a wide
I
receiver 1.
agree.
So
I just know Cohen's sitting here thinking like, okay, who did you not choose? And he's going to go on to say, like,
You're getting
I
2
think we keep
receivers,
him.
remember? So there's another group. of them.
yeah, let's keep him. Yeah,
You get
that's what
2
I'm saying. Yeah,
receivers.
he's our wide receiver 2. I think
Okay.
that's solid.
Okay.
good. That's a good
in
pickup.
that group, so you're keeping T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Okay. So that group, case number 1 was George Pickens. Case number 3 was Jamar Chase. Case number 4 was Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Okay.
Case number 5 was Drake London, and case number 6 was Ricky Pearsall.
Okay.
I feel like that's like
other
2,
than Jamar
like-
Chase, I'm fine
Yeah.
with it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like. Do you not feel that T. Higgins is just switch him and Drake London, and I think T. Higgins
Yeah,
could be
for sure.
better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm happy with our wide receiver
All right.
2. Yeah.
Not
Now
bad.
we got to get a stud
Not
on that.
bad. All right. All right. 1 through 6. Next wide receiver.
6. I know that's why I said 6.
Yeah.
You have Puka Nakua.
Oh, yeah. Lock that in, baby. Deal. Let's Dudley. Come on now.
All right. Case number 1 was AJ Brown. Case number 2 was JSN. Case number 3 was Romeo Dobbs. Case number 4 was Devontae Smith, and case number 5 was Mac Hollins.
All right. I like that one. I feel like we got the best option there. Maybe JSN, but I like Puka. I like Puka T. I love it.
I like Puka.
Yeah.
All right. Running back 1 through 6.
This is big here. We got our big blocking tight end Darnell, so we need a good running back.
1 through 6. 4. Are you feeling 4?
I like it. 4.
Four.
Got
Right.
us the first, but we're going 4 this time. There ain't been a good one at 4, I feel like.
Not good.
Devin
All right.
Achan.
Ooh, okay. Kind of a versatile back, right? Like, I mean, he's quick. He can run it. He can catch the
Oh,
ball.
but I just feel like he's like in the middle pack. Like I feel like
I
there's
agree. I agree.
like 1 or 2
but
really worse than him, but 1 or 2 that could be. How many running backs do we get?
1.
Oh,
Let's
I
get
feel
one
like we
running back.
got it. It's risky at this time. We mark Pope right now.
All right,
Are
Dylan.
y'all closing it? Close it.
Take the number.
All right.
I wanted to keep him.
All
All
right.
right, no, we'll keep him. We'll keep him. We'll keep
No,
it. If you,
no. I just like I'm sitting here thinking like he could be a really good running back this year. Like
He's
really
the
good.
only guy they have, though, so I don't know.
I mean, yes, but like he's gonna get
no deal.
every
No
touch.
deal.
All right. All right.
All right. Who you going with?
Mason, we go back. We're going back. We got to go 2. No, we got to go back with 2.
Oh God, no, I don't like this.
Tony Pollard.
Oh no.
Man.
God.
Number
told
1.
you.
Number
I told
1
you.
was Christian McCaffrey.
See?
Number 3 was Javonte Williams. And number 5 was Rico Dowdle. And number 6 was Jahmyr Gibbs.
Man.
We should have kept
H.N.
him.
was probably a great one to keep. He's a good.
Yeah. He's like not at the
All
top,
right.
but he's not the bottom.
All
He's like right below those top guys.
All right,
Just
here we
get
go.
the-
QB.
Oh,
This is it.
You picked the
This is
number.
round out your
Pick the
team.
number.
We're going 4 again. 4 had been good to us. It's going to be good to us this time.
You have Daniel Jones.
Oh my
Hey.
goodness.
Hold up, time out, because he balled out last year. Don't say, oh my goodness, because he absolutely balled last year.
He did, but I think it was just
Before he
a
got
one
hurt,
hit wonder. It
was
was
he
a
not
one hit
QB?
wonder.
Hold on. Was he not QB1 before he got hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in fantasy, wasn't he QB1 in fantasy before he got hurt?
But I'm just saying though, my son is a one hit wonder.
All right, you picked K-Sit.
I mean, do you really think Daniel, like looking at our roster?
Okay, what if he throws us Tua Tagovailoa, who gets his brains knocked apart in the first game of the season, then we don't have a quarterback?
But I'm just saying, at this point, we really should just risk it because, like, our team.
All right, you know what? Give me number 5 and give me Aaron Rodgers right now. I'll take it.
5. I'm feeling it.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. I told you we risk it. We're here.
Joe
We're
Burrow.
so bad. You cannot tell me that Joe Burrow ain't finding Darnell Washington on the sideline.
Number 1 was Jameis Winston. Number 2 was Sam Darnold. Number 3 was Malik Willis. And number 6 was Jaden Daniels.
Oh, we got
All right.
far got the best one there.
Come on.
I mean,
If we would
running
not have
back,
picked 5,
I'll
I
take
would have been
5.
mad.
I know.
So there's your team. You got Joe Burrow, Tony Pollard, T. Higgins,
if we
Puka
kept
Nacua,
we were
and
cooking.
Darnell Washington. I'm seeing
kept
like a
18,
10
we're
and
cooking.
7 team, like a 11 and 6 team.
Yeah.
Probably.
I agree.
You're strong in 2.5
HN,
spots, and you're down
we're
in
moving
2.5
up.
spots.
HN, we're moving up to like 13
like
and 4.
Yeah, you're about 11
Actually,
6.
I think we're okay. I mean,
You got weak in Washington and tight end and running back, pretty decent and everything else. So
pretty decent. We got Joe
Pretty
Burrow,
good.
Joe
Yeah, I
Burrow
agree.
at 1, and then
I
T.
agree.
Higgins and
Puka?
Puka. Come on now.
that is solid. You could have got Jamar Chase.
That's real solid.
Could have said got Jamar Chase too.
Before we leave, I did have one more. I actually shifted gears on BSM from the stands. I did have another one I wanted to throw out to y'all. We're about an hour. I want to throw this out there to y'all. I made this one. I was going to tell you all this was something I thought about today. So I do want to ask you all this, closing out on Kentucky. What are your thoughts on, would you ever tear down Rupp Arena for reconstruction of the fan base? Given its history and everything that's happening there. However, though, looking at what the environment could be like as far as having specifically students closer and more engagement of fans who are not sure ones who's been there for a billion years.
So,
Honest question.
So
Do you think it ever could happen, or would you be for it?
No, I don't think you ever tear down Rupp. There's a difference in tearing down Rupp Arena and reconstructing to possibly make it to where there's students around the bottom instead of, like, that's a difference. I don't think you can ever go away from Rupp Arena. I mean, it's one of the biggest stadiums in college basketball. So, like, you have the most fans. Like, you already one of the biggest. Like, it holds as many, I don't know, it's like top 3 or something that holds in college basketball for an arena. So, I mean, it holds a ton of fans already, and so I don't think you could ever tear it down. Like, I don't think that you could. I think if I'm wrong, it holds like 20 to 24,000, like 20,000 people or 24,000, something like that. But
I'm looking at it.
I don't think you tear it down for sure. You might can reconstruct.
We're the biggest. I mean, if you don't count Syracuse, which it's a dome.
They play in. Yeah, they use it for everything. Like, it's just simply their college arena.
Yeah.
For basketball, we're the big. So it's hard to tear down Rupp Arena. I mean, you get the biggest environment because you have the biggest stadium and you have the most fans. I mean, filling it every time. Now, yes, reconstruct it in a way to maybe make it a different environment for more students involved. That's an option. I just don't think you go away from Rupp Arena.
I agree.
It was just a thought. I just don't know, like, if you ever were going to get to the reconstruction, I don't think you would ever get that from reconstructing Rupp Arena. I think that the only way that it would ever be reconstructed is tearing it down, just because you will never. But I also don't think you could ever do that.
The thing is the ones you would need to pony up the money to rebuild
are going to be
is the ones that sit on the front row. So
right. No, I agree. Just thought I had. Well, hey, if you are not following us, give us the follow. Stay tuned with the collaboration we have with Bluegrass Elite. Looking forward to that. And as always, there's been another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind, and go Cats!
Go Cats!
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.